Tonight on Nebraska Nightly, the fatal Nashville shooting that left 6 dead.
The indictment of former President Donald Trump.
And in local news, a Lincoln woman who is being accused of killing 2 in a car crash.
A house fire that took the lives of 4 dogs.
And a look at discussions with state senators on suicide prevention and mental health legislation.
This is Nebraska Nightly.
Live from the University of Nebraska College of Journalism and Mass Communications, this is Nebraska Nightly.
Welcome to Nebraska Nightly. I'm Hannah Christensen.
And I'm Jill Lampkins. Nashville is still mourning the loss of 6 people killed in the mass shooting at the Covenant School on Monday. Mourners gathered for a vigil to remember the victims. CNN's Carlos Suarez reports from Tennessee.
An emotional vigil in Nashville.
In the sky, Lord, in the sky.
As residents gathered to remember the 6 lives lost after a shooter opened fire at the Covenant School on Monday.
Our hearts are heavy as we join all of Nashville in mourning the deaths of Evelyn Dykes, Holly Scruggs, William Kinney, Cynthia Peak, Mike Hill, and Catherine Kuntz.
First Lady Jill Biden was also in attendance. An emotional vigil in Nashville.
In the sky, Lord, in the sky.
As residents gathered to remember the 6 lives lost after a shooter opened fire at the Covenant School on Monday.
Our hearts are heavy as we join all of Nashville in mourning the deaths of Evelyn Dykes, Holly Scruggs, William Kinney, Cynthia Peak, Mike Hill, and Catherine Kuntz.
First Lady Jill Biden was also in attendance.
New information on the investigation. Nashville police believe the shooter who killed 3 children and 3 adults had weapons training. It's unclear what and where that training took place.
America is entering uncharted territory. Donald Trump has become the first former president in the history of the United States to face criminal charges. Not only that, he's running for re-election right now as he prepares to turn himself in and be arrested in New York. Voted to indict the former president Thursday. While the case is still under seal, Trump could face more than 30 counts related to business fraud when he is arraigned in New York on Tuesday. This indictment concludes a years-long probe investigation, a hush money payment made to adult film star Stormy Daniels to remain silent about an alleged past affair with Trump, an affair Trump denies.
A Lincoln woman is accused of murdering 2 people in a car crash near the Lodge Apartments Monday afternoon. The driver of the vehicle was 27-year-old Taylor Bradley. Lincoln police say she struck the victims 20 to 30 yards from the roadway. She's currently held on 2 counts of first-degree murder as the investigation for intent continues. The 2 victims were men in their 40s who were maintenance employees for the apartments near South 48th and Old Cheney Road. They were pronounced dead at the scene. The investigation is still ongoing.
A house fire in South Lincoln killed 4 dogs in the early morning hours this past Saturday. Lincoln Fire and Rescue responded to the call. While the 4 animals died, 2 residents along with several animals evacuated and treated at a local animal hospital. The fire is believed to have started around 6 a.m. on the ground floor, and due to clutter in the house, officers had difficulty reaching the 2nd floor. The Red Cross is working to relocate the 2 residents along with their animals as the house is officially condemned. The cause of the fire is under investigation.
Community members and state senators gathered at the Capitol Wednesday morning. They joined with advocates from the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention to discuss potential legislation related to suicide prevention and mental health. They discussed LB 314 and 585, and they ensured continuing support for the new 988 crisis hotline implemented last July. LB 314 would require firearm dealers to provide information about suicide prevention and require suicide prevention training. LB 585 would expand suicide prevention training in public schools to address broader behavioral and mental health training. Each of the AFSP advocates had a personal connection to suicide and mental health awareness.
We're here today at the state capitol for State Capitol Day. We're here to talk to our local Nebraska legislatures, senators about suicide prevention and why it's so important that we support those bills that are coming up, helping to keep all of our community members safe and educated on suicide prevention.
When people think of arts and crafts, quilting may not be the first thing that comes to mind. Nebraska Nightly's Rebecca Heckel tells us about the importance of this art form and its connection to history.
Sheila Green has been a member of Lincoln Quilters Guild for over 30 years and has been volunteering with the International Quilt Museum since it was built in 2008.
I started sewing when I was in grade school, things for my dolls. In junior high, I was making all my own clothes, or most of them. And it just kind of evolved to quilting, especially when I started having grandchildren.
The definition of a quilt is a textile that involves two pieces of fabric sandwiching padding, and the museum is home to thousands of them from across 68 countries.
You can't help but be here in 9 years and not just think that every exhibit is your next favorite. So when you have 10,000 quilts in the collection, you have a lot to draw from, so you get to see a lot of different kinds of things.
Recently, Sheila chaired the Quilt Museum's celebration for National Quilting Day, bringing artists together to teach their craft to the community. And although quilts may just seem like pieces of fabric sewn together, they are filled with rich history and culture.
What makes a quilt and what makes quilting is people and the community of people. You know, it's a social aspect. It's when you're with people that enjoy what you enjoy. That's what quilt making's all about.
These textiles can be pieces of history or hold priceless memories that will last more than a lifetime.
It's a lot of satisfaction. If you're making it for someone else, you've chosen everything with that person in mind. The wedding quilts I've done for grandchildren, you know, it's just really special.
Sheila was awarded the title of Life Member of the Quilt Museum for her work in education and dedication to teaching students about quilts and what makes them unique. She also has several of her own quilts featured in the museum's collection. Reporting for Nebraska News Service, I'm Rebecca Heckel.
Well, this weather's really starting to play games with us here in Nebraska.
I agree, but thankfully we haven't seen any severe weather yet. And fun fact, it's actually Nebraska Severe Weather Awareness Week.
Let's toss it to meteorologist Logan Howard to learn a little more about how you can stay safe. Logan?
Thanks so much. And today we'll be talking about the difference between a watch and a warning here in honor of Nebraska's Severe Weather Awareness Week. Here on the left here I have an example of a watch. Watches here are issued nationally from the Storm Prediction Center out in Oklahoma. And what it means when your area is under a watch is that conditions in the environment are favorable for the development of severe weather. These are typically issued between 1 to 3 or so hours before the event, and what you need to do is be prepared for changing weather conditions. Here on the right I have an example of a tornado warning. When a warning is issued for your area, these are at the local level and these are very small regions. So when a tornado warning is in your area, what this means is that you need to seek shelter immediately. The hazard is almost upon you and you will have to take shelter. For severe weather, the best place to go in your homes is in the most interior portion of the building or in the basement, and stay away from windows. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Logan. Coming up after the break, the CEO of TikTok testifies before Congress amid concerns over national security.
President Joe Biden's student loan forgiveness program faces a new threat.
And a Lincoln nonprofit hosts a Ramadan market. All coming up right here after the break.
Need for blood never stops. And at the Nebraska Community Blood Bank, your blood could help save lives. Right now, only 7% of the population donates blood. But imagine if there were more.
We're sitting at below a 7-day level of supply of all blood types across the board. So every blood type is important, and we need all donors of all types to come in and donate right now.
At the Nebraska Community Blood Bank, they believe that all types make a strong blood supply. Welcome back. China says it will firmly oppose any forced sale of the popular social media app TikTok. President Joe Biden's administration is calling on the app's Chinese owners to sell their share of the company or face a potential U.S. ban. The drama unfolded as the company's CEO testified on Capitol Hill about keeping user data safe. Ivan Rodriguez reports on the potential security risks of TikTok.
Many U.S. lawmakers remain convinced the popular app is an urgent threat to national security.
The FBI director, the CIA director, the NSA director, the DIA director, the director of national intelligence, all voicing significant concerns about this app in bipartisan fashion.
TikTok does appear to collect user data in a similar fashion to American social media companies. While TikTok does not operate in China, its parent company ByteDance is located in Beijing. The concern is the Chinese government could leverage that relationship to force cooperation with security activities, including the possible transfer of TikTok user data. Experts say while there's no public evidence at this moment, it is a possibility.
The problem for the CEO is it's not TikTok that's the target of mistrust, it's China. Nobody trusts China, and nothing he can say will change that.
Western legal experts say Chinese law can require any organization or citizen in China to support, assist, or cooperate with state intelligence work. Concerns about TikTok's connection to China have led to a ban across U.S. government devices. In Thursday's testimony, TikTok CEO Shou Chew tried to ease worries.
I have seen no evidence that the Chinese government has access to that data. They have never asked us. We have not provided.
Lawmakers.
President Biden's student loan forgiveness program may face a new threat before the U.S. Supreme Court rules on whether it can be carried out. 3 Republican senators are planning to introduce a resolution to overturn Biden's debt relief program. Bill Cassidy of Louisiana, Joni Ernst of Iowa, and John Cornyn of Texas. Biden would very likely veto the measure if it succeeds in both chambers of Congress, but votes would force members of his own party, who have not all supported the student loan forgiveness program, to take a public stance. The program promises up to $20,000 of debt relief for eligible borrowers. It is currently blocked by a lower court. The U.S. Supreme Court is expected to issue its ruling on the program in late June or early July.
The Islamic religious month of Ramadan began last week. Chloe Sander reports that one Lincoln nonprofit hosted a Ramadan market on March 13th for the community to prepare and celebrate.
I do wood burning, like on comb, on piece of wood, like make painting, on bookmark, on spoons.
Saja's wood-burned art was one of the many pieces at Lincoln's first Ramadan market, which she helped plan.
Saja Kanani with Saja Craft came to me and said, Kelly, it'd be really great to have a Ramadan market. Why doesn't anyone do that here? And I thought to myself, why doesn't anyone do that here? I said, okay, let's do it.
Kelly Ross is the executive director at Echo Collective, a nonprofit based in Northwest Lincoln that helps immigrants and refugee women gain skills to open businesses and plan events like the Ramadan market.
The Ramadan for the Muslim people is like big celebration for soul, for religion.
300 visitors came to the market at Turbine Flats. There were 14 vendors. Saja said the market will help Muslims prepare for Ramadan like they would back in their home countries.
We shop of food, we shop like lantern, we shop stuff of moon.
Saja said she hopes the market helps the Lincoln community learn about Ramadan and Muslim families celebrate.
Saja did a really great job of thinking about every aspect of the family. And so when you walk in, we of course have decor for the home, but we also have delicious food.
Our kids, they don't see this celebration because we are not in our country. They need to see those celebrations. They need to hear about Ramadan. They need to know more about Ramadan.
Kelly and Saja said they hope to host the market again next year on an even bigger scale. Reporting for the Nebraska News Service, this is Chloe Sander.
You know, while that Ramadan market was inside, it got me thinking about the farmers market and warmer weather.
Yeah, me too. And we did get lucky with the weather yesterday, but I do see some warmer days ahead of us. So let's hear it from meteorologist Logan Howard with your weekend forecast.
Thank y'all so much. Currently in our area, you can see it is very windy, very breezy, and pretty cool at our temperature of 48 degrees. Looking at our almanac today, if you were up early today, you might remember that we started our temperatures up in the 60s as we had a high today of near 61 degrees. That occurred shortly before midnight, and then we've had falling temperatures for the rest of the day. Looking at our current weather map, if we could switch to the weather map, please. You can see that throughout our area, we're not too bad here in Nebraska, but if you look at the map, you can see this very large and expansive weather system occurring throughout the central U.S. Particularly of note is the Mississippi River Valley and into the Ohio River Valley, where we are currently experiencing a very strong severe weather outbreak. We've already heard news of confirmed large tornadoes in Little Rock and also several places in southeast Iowa. So if you know people in those areas, please give them a call, let them know, see if they're safe, and be on the lookout for people out there. Again, in our area, not too much. A slight chance of snow to our northwest, but otherwise not much here in our area. Moving to tonight's forecast, we have a slight chance of rain in our area, but otherwise probably not too much. Low of 26 degrees, again, very breezy with winds 25 to 35 miles per hour, gusting to over 45 miles per hour even in our area. Tomorrow, a bit warmer, high of 56 degrees. Again, very breezy, very gusty, gusts 25 to 30 miles per hour in our area. Saturday night, kind of the same story. A little warmer with our winds coming out of the south. Again, gusting to 30 to 35 miles per hour. And finally, looking at our Sunday forecast, very warm, very pleasant, high of 77 degrees. Again, very breezy, so it'll make for an interesting time outside, but again, very warm in our area. Looking at our 7-day forecast, we can see here we have a little bit of a roller coaster of temperatures. Very warm on Sunday, cooling back down on Monday. Warm again on Tuesday, potentially up to 80 degrees with a slight chance of rain. And then looking at the end of our week, we can see that the temperatures cool off a bit, but generally on the warming trend looking for next weekend. Back to you at the desk.
Thank you, Logan. Coming up, Matt Rule introduces new traditions to the Husker football team.
Frank Solich returns to Nebraska.
And the Husker baseball season continues.
And a Husker gymnast is named Gymnast of the Year.
Of the 40 million tons of plastic waste generated in the U.S. in 2021, only 5%, or 2 million tons, was recycled. Make sure you do your part in keeping Anderson Hall clean. For more information on recycling statistics, visit epa.gov today.
away from being determined, there's one significant change that has been quite noticeable at practice. No players are donning single-digit jerseys. The reason? New rule means new tradition for the Huskers. It's a tactic Coach Rule employed at Temple and Baylor. He says the numbers 0 through 9 will be awarded to the 10 toughest players.
When I say toughest, we define that for the guys, but really the guys who best exemplify what it means to be a Cornhusker, right? To be accountable, to be dependable, to be tough, hardworking, competitive every single day. And so as we get into training camp, those, we'll vote on it. It won't be the coaches. The players will vote on it. And we hope it kind of becomes their tradition.
As the team tries to establish new traditions, they're gearing up for the biggest spring tradition in Nebraska football, the spring game. The game kicks off on April 22nd, just 3 weeks away from tomorrow, and there will be a special guest. Athletic Director Trevor Alberts announced former Husker football coach Frank Solich will be honored at the game. Frank Solich will return to Nebraska 20 years after he was controversially fired as head coach. He was a handpicked successor to Tom Osborne, going 58-19 in his 6-year tenure at the helm. Following his time in Nebraska, he coached for 16 seasons at Ohio, becoming the Mid-American Conference all-time wins leader. He was an all-conference fullback for the Huskers in the 1960s, and the 78-year-old will return to his alma mater to be honored in front of the Husker faithful. We turn our attention to the baseball field. While Major League Baseball's opening day was yesterday, the Huskers are in the midseason stretch. The Huskers began Big Ten play last weekend, winning their conference opening series against Illinois 2-1. Now they take a break from conference action and head to Abilene, Texas for a doubleheader tomorrow. Players Gabe Swanson and Shea Shanneman say the team knowing their individual roles is crucial this season.
I think we're really confident, we're really ready to go. I mean, everyone's looking forward to warm weather especially. So I think we're all excited and eager to go, hopefully win a couple ball games.
We're all rooting for each other, and we're deep, and we have guys that can play different positions, so guys just know they got to go out and dominate their role, whatever that may be on any given day.
The Huskers are currently on their way down to Texas now for an April Fool's Day doubleheader against Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, and Abilene Christian. They'll stay on the road next week as they head to Manhattan, Kansas to take on former Big 12 foe Kansas State on Tuesday. Meanwhile, the softball team had their way through March going 15-4 in the month, but they're off to a rough start to go 16-4. They currently trail against Michigan 10-0 in the 4th inning. But they still have 2 more chances in the next 2 days against Michigan to get back on top and win the series, facing them again tomorrow and Sunday. Next week, they'll head to College Park, Maryland to face off with the Terrapins. High honor for men's gym. Taylor Christopoulos is named the Big Ten Gymnast of the Year after a stellar 2023 campaign. He finished the regular season ranked 1st nationally in the all-around, 2nd in vault, and 5th on floor, helping the Huskers achieve their position as the 5th-ranked team in the entire country. Christopoulos and the team are in action tonight at the Big Ten Championship in Columbus, Ohio. And we've had recent news coming from the women's basketball circles. Jazz Shelley announced she will stay for her 5th and final season with the Huskers. That's big news. And that's all we have from sports. I'll send it back to the table. Hannah?
Thanks, Nathan. What a fun last name, Christopoulos.
And way to represent Nebraska, winning Big Ten Gymnast of the Year. And congrats to Jazz Shelley choosing to come back to Nebraska. We're excited to have her back.
Absolutely. Well, coming up in entertainment after the break, Nebraska Wesleyan performs the 12th night.
The Envive Runman hits UNL's East Campus.
And Easter egg hunts start up in the capital city. Whether you're in the mood for a fun run or a fun show, Lincoln Entertainment has you covered.
Now to our entertainment correspondent, Evan Donlinger, for your entertainment news.
Thanks, guys. How'd you like to witness a Shakespearean comedy featuring the rare Love Octagon? Nebraska Wesleyan is putting on the legendary 12th night this weekend. Follow Viola as she gets shipwrecked, is separated from her twin brother, and forced to dress as a boy to work for the Duke Orsino. The show will be at the Miller Lab Theater on Wesleyan's campus, and for more information on show dates and times, visit Nebraska Wesleyan's theater website. Do you want to kick April off on the right foot? Then come to East Campus Mall for a run for the Environment this Saturday morning. Runners can choose between a 3K or a 5K run, and the event is free for all students. The run is to kick off UNL's Earth Month, and registration starts at 10:30 a.m. and the run begins at 11. If you still need convincing, free snacks and ice cream will be provided for everyone running. For more information is available at events.unl.edu. With Easter right around the corner, the festivities are starting with many different venues hosting Easter egg hunts. This Saturday, various churches, YMCAs, cafes, and even realty companies are putting together Easter egg hunts for all ages to enjoy. If you're looking to get a head start on training for Easter Day, visit the events page of lincoln.org for more information. Now, Nebraska is known for many things, and one of them is the mesmerizing display of nature when the sandhill crane migrates to and from central Nebraska. UNL's Outdoor Adventure Center is offering everyone the opportunity to experience this event this Saturday at noon. Take a hike with Outdoor Adventure employees and witness this bucket list item for yourself. Tickets start at $45, and more information can be found at events.unl.edu. And that's your entertainment news for the week. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Evan. You know, I haven't gone on an Easter egg hunt in years.
Me neither. Maybe we could go to the Environment and look for Easter eggs around this town at the same time.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea. Environment. That's really hard to say, but it sounds like a great time. Well, last night was the 5th annual UNL Shave for the Brave event that was put on by the National Residency Hall Honorary. And yes, the event is exactly what it sounds like. In the Willa Cather Red Cloud Room, 11 people signed up to shave their heads in support of the brave children who fight childhood cancer every day. Well, the NRHH hosted the event. The organization raised funds for the St. Baldrick's Foundation, a national charity for childhood cancer research. In fact, they've raised the most out of any organization except for the U.S. government.
I'm doing this to support our students who are part of the National Residence Hall Honorary, who are putting on this wonderful event. And really it's about the kids, right? To raise money and awareness about childhood cancer. Yep.
In the U.S., 1 in 5 children diagnosed with cancer will not survive. With events like these, St. Baldrick's has helped raise the 5-year survival rate from 79% to 85%. Outside of this event, NRHH raised more than $7,500 in support of St. Baldrick's, with the hopes of raising $12,000 by the end of the semester.
What a fun way to raise funds for childhood cancer. Do you think you could ever shave your head, Jill?
I don't know, for a good cause, maybe, but I think I'd for sure go and support a friend.
I think I'd stick to supporting a friend too.
Well, thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week. I wondered what we were on time.